For many years, hardwood was a popular choice of flooring. Even today, there's nothing like a hardwood floor that says elegance and style. But many other products have come on the scene that function even better in extreme situations. Some of these products include carpet and vinyl. Carpet offers homes a very cozy and comfortable feel, while vinyl has become the workhorse of the flooring industry. With its low cost and ease of maintenance, vinyl is extensively used in healthcare facilities and in commercial high traffic areas. Today on Built to Last, we're going to take a detailed look at these three popular forms of flooring.
Built to Last is sponsored by Unico Incorporated, manufacturers of the small duct high-velocity HVAC Unico system. Unico is dedicated to the environment and has been serving residential and commercial customers around the corner and around the globe for more than 25 years.
Great Northern Lumber, providing green construction materials from skyscrapers to residential remodel. Proud to serve you for the last 27 years and into the future in the lumber industry.
There's a lot of little things to consider, you know. You just can't look at the aesthetics of it. You have to look at the functionality, how it's going to perform in the field, how it's going to be maintained, so on and so forth. Well, cost comes into it. Usually that always comes into it is cost, okay? But what's important also is it new construction? Is it existing structure? You have to look at the variables like, you know, sustainability. Is it going to be, you know, green? That's a big thing today. Floor conditions. You have to pay attention to that. There's moisture issues and stuff on new construction, so you want to be aware and you want to test the flooring to make sure that you're right at the relative humidity and moisture and you don't have any problems that way. And then, you know, how is the floor going to be maintained? Who's going to maintain it? Things of that nature.
This is an assisted living facility for elderly people and rehab. What we have on this project is there's 9 or 10 different luxury vinyl tiles installed in different areas of the facility, and the beauty salon is one type of product, reception area is another. Each floor, there's 3 floors, each floor has its own color code. It's the same carpeting, just different colors on each floor with the patterns in it. The room that we're standing in right now, it's vinyl plank. There's vinyl plank downstairs in the reception area. It's done with borders and mitering. It tests the skill of every installer that's out here. You have to know a variety of different type of applications. It's glue-down carpeting, glue-down vinyl, and the glue-down vinyl plank. There's no padding underneath this. It's designed that way for ease of traffic, walkers, wheelchairs, stuff like that. It's just a very well thought out project.
There are a lot of benefits to selecting carpet in certain applications. Depending on what it's going to be used for will dictate what type of carpeting to put in that particular area. There are carpets that are easier to maintain than other carpets. There are carpets that will hold up in heavier traffic areas, things of that nature.
Carpet has a massive amount of different variables as far as residential and commercial. You only have pretty much what we consider 2 types of settings. Now you can go into the industrial part too, but it's pretty much the same thing as the commercial. Now your residential, for the most part, is a lot of cut piles and your Berbers. Once in a while you can get into the custom to where you can put in borders. You can even get into what we call carving, which means making it look like a Persian rug, which means putting in a whole lot of different types of inlays and so forth. And then what we do is we'll take the carpet and we'll sort of like bevel it down like this and then up like this so that it looks very detailed, all right? But then that's on a very, very expensive situation. And then in your commercial area, what we have is we have a lot of your thinner materials, okay, because of wear. You'll have vinyl backs, you'll have foam backs, you'll have just your typical type of man-made product for a backing. A lot of glue downs, mostly all glue downs. You'll have carpet tiles. You'll have 6-foot vinyl back carpets, which gets put down a lot of times with a releasable.
If you're doing areas that are high traffic, like stairs and hallways, you would generally use a carpet that's lower, tighter, denser, because that has a less of a chance of matting down or not performing under those high traffic areas, as opposed to, say, a living room or a dining room that doesn't get as much use. How to put carpet in or how to install carpet is very, very important from the aspect of there are many, many installers out there who are not certified who don't stretch the carpet in properly. And when you're working with a textile, it's necessary to stretch it in place properly so that it performs in the long run, doesn't buckle on you, and so on and so forth. And if it's not done in the method that we are taught to do, in the pole stretching, as opposed to kicking the carpet in, you're not going to get a good installation.
What they're doing in there is pretty much a residential type of installation. They have a cut pile and they're putting in a border all the way around, okay? And that gets tackless, which is tack strip is what it is. It has pins, and when you stretch the carpet, it hooks on, okay? So, and then what they do is as the carpet's running up the wall, then they'll trim it and tuck it between the wall and the tack strip. We leave about anywhere from 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch space so that they can tuck the carpet into there. Once the tackless tack strip is down, then we put a pad down, or it's called cushion. That can be several different types.
We generally want a heavier, denser pad. Not real thick, but dense. That's what's going to do the job and make the carpet perform better.
Then we take our carpet, we put that down, and what they're doing based on the border is we have to lay that out to where it's exactly where it's going to be, to where we can install our border, which we use a thermoplastic hot tape. That tape is put up underneath, and then we use an iron. Now, the idea of an iron, most people might think of ironing your clothes, but in reality it's an iron that's about this long, about this wide, and what it does, it has grooves most of the time on the bottom of the iron, so that as they're melting this tape, it's leaving grooves of adhesive. And then what you have to do is you have to get that carpet and push it down onto the tape so that it will adhere to that, and then we run a roller on top of that to make sure that that adhesive goes into the backing. Once that's done, then we do the stretching. And that's a process based on a 7 to an 8-step method, which I'm not going to get into because it's a very complicated idea just to say it here. So, but it's stretched in, and the process is a stretcher, a kicker, a wall trimmer, a knife, some awls, just to get this thing installed. And once it's installed, then you have a material that is sort of floating because of the stretch. It's not attached to the floor, it's just holding on to the sides. So it is moving. So if it's not stretched properly, you're going to get bubbles. So if people have bubbles in their carpet, and that's part of the reason is it hasn't been stretched properly. The other way of doing an installation with borders is a glue down, okay? We'll glue the carpet down and put the borders in the same method, just with glue. Same process of layout. And then you also have a pattern glue down, which we have to actually stretch the carpet in order to get the pattern straight so that we can glue it down. Which means if you stretch so far, we put a bunch of nails down, that holds it in position, and then we fold the carpet back again, glue some more area, put that in, stretch it up, put nails. It's a long process, especially if you have a piece of carpet that has a lot of problems with the pattern.
This is broadloom carpeting. Comes 12 foot wide. This is from Atlas Mills in California. The tricky part about this, as you can see, it's got a very elaborate pattern in it, and to match the pattern, it takes training and skill, knowledge, hands-on experience. This piece we just laid in here, it looks like it's on pattern match at a quick look with your eye, but it's actually way off of pattern match. This has a 3-foot match in the length with an 18-inch drop. That means 3 feet, it's this pattern and this pattern, and 18 inches would be from here to here. It's made for commercial applications such as this. You could put it in your home too, but it's specifically made for commercial applications, the traffic, wheelchairs, walkers, just the activity that goes on here. Cleaning it is easier. You don't have to worry about re-stretches where the carpet buckles because it's stretched and hooked onto the tackless. That's the advantage of a glue-down installation. As far as hardwood installations go, hardwood it's a natural beauty. It's a deep, when you look into a piece of hardwood, you could see into that product. It's timeless, it lasts forever. The patina in the wood, it can take on different kinds of stains, different kinds of finishes. It has its place in certain applications, a high-end conference room or an executive office. Some places have it in their showrooms as borders, as their entryways.
In the flooring industry, different fashions and different trends happen constantly. It just evolves that way. And a big trend now, especially with homeowners, is to use wood flooring. That's a very, very in thing. But wood flooring, you know, even though it's beautiful, you have to be very careful of certain situations. You know, it doesn't like moisture, and it's harder to maintain, it's easier to scratch. Years ago, site-finished wood was more popular, but because of the advances and techniques in manufacturing these wood products, you seem to have a better chance of the product holding up under, you know, less than ideal conditions when you use engineered wood. When installing a wood floor, the #1 situation should be where it's going to be installed. Is it going to be subjected to moisture or a lot of water, which is not a friendly thing to wood? So that's one of the main concerns, you know. And then the next concern would be how much traffic is going to go over that particular area. It works better in areas like dining rooms and living rooms that don't get a daily situation or aren't going to get that heavy, hard abuse like other areas.
Well, installing wood, it can be glued directly to concrete, depending on the humidity in the concrete and below grade and all of that. Those things have to be taken into consideration. It can be nailed into a wood substrate, a plywood floor, or sleepers as you put in underneath sometimes, and then it's nailed into that. Basketball floors are over concrete, but they're on sleepers with a sound system underneath it, you know, for gyms and stuff like that. So it can be installed almost anywhere. You just have to, moisture is the biggest enemy of wood.
When selecting wood, it's important to pay attention to the label on the wood by the Forest Stewardship Council, because they're set up in a way to make sure that we're replenishing the forest, regrowing the trees, and that the product is sustainable, and we're not going to end up ultimately, you know, deleting all of our forest and lumber. If these floors are being brought in from another country, they have to pass certain criteria of this particular council, and if they do, you know you're getting the right product and a quality product. As in everything else and every other type of flooring, there are many variables and many different types of wood flooring. For instance, you have what they call site finished, where the product is put in, installed on site, it's sanded and finished. The other alternative would be, you know, an engineered situation where it's factory manufactured, factory finished. In many cases, this is a better finish or a harder finish, and it'll hold up a lot longer because it's under ideal factory conditions.
The type of floor that we're putting down here is a 3/4 inch pre-finished hardwood floor in a residential condominium. The pre-finished glue down process, we normally start with proper concrete prep, which means that prior to the start of the job, we come in with a straight edge and check for any valleys or bellies in the floor and flatten out the floor thoroughly to allow for a proper installation of the pre-finished floor. Once the floors are properly leveled, then we come in and double check to make sure that all the moisture is out of the floor. We do this using a couple different types of moisture meters. We then come in, roll out our foam, start off of a outside wall, and the foam is properly glued to the floor using the Sika mastic. Then all the slots are filled with the glue itself, and then we start our installation off of the wall, and the installation has no anchors. By no anchors, that means it is not mechanically fastened to the floor using any nails or staples. So it is glued to itself and to the floor. The advantage to the glue down system in a residential condo is to reduce the height of the installation, whereas years ago it was nailing down a 3/4 inch plywood and then the 3/4 inch hardwood. We can reduce the height from 1.5 inches to under 1 inch with a final finished product, which saves cost at carpeted areas and at stone tile areas. The advantages to having the pre-finished product installed is time. You do not have to come in and sand and finish the product on site. You have less downtime to where people can still occupy the unit and work. Us and the general contractor take all necessary steps to allow for a proper installation. One of the major steps that we take care that is sort of going the extra mile, especially with the climates that we have in Chicago with the hot and the cold seasons, is prior to the installation we stain the inside of the tongue, so then that way if there is any expansion and contraction on the dark floors, you cannot see the light part of the wood.
Most people will call a floating floor by a manufacturer's name who first started it, all right? And in reality, there's several manufacturers out there that have floating floors, and it's also called laminate. Now, what it's mostly is a MDF, which is a medium density fiberboard. And a lot of the other manufacturers have floating floors that are plywood, and it's called an engineered floor, but it's a floating engineered floor. So for the most part, most of your big box stores will have a laminate floating floor with the MDF, all right? Several manufacturers out there. Now, it's a pretty much a simple process to a certain point, because as you start trying to go through doorways and going through closets and so forth, there's other techniques that you have to learn, and sometimes if you don't know, you got to ask.
Another option to using carpet would be, sheet vinyl or soft tile, which would encompass sheet goods, which is generally one piece, LVT, which is luxury vinyl tile, and VCT, which stands for vinyl composition tile. Vinyl composition tile was used years ago in different school applications, and nowadays we're using more of the sheet goods and the luxury vinyl tile because they're easier to maintain. Sheet goods are basically one piece, the majority of them being anywhere from 6 foot to 6 foot 7 inches wide, with a few being 12 foot wide. Whereas luxury vinyl tile are individual tiles that generally are about 2 foot by 2 foot. These have particular finishes, and they are easier to maintain and look newer for a longer period of time. A lot of these products, are costly, and you want to make sure that you pay particular attention to making sure you get the right product installed and installed correctly, because you don't want to have a mistake or have to do it over. Once it's done correctly, you'll have a product that will last and perform for many, many years. As in all things, there are many, many selections. There's literally hundreds of flooring manufacturers that make these particular products, the sheet goods and the luxury vinyl tiles. Now, some are more applicable to certain installations as opposed to others. So again, this is a good thing when you work with an install certified or install professional that understands what products can be used in what areas to make sure that you're getting the right product. All of these products that we've been talking about are installed with adhesives. And the day of the multi-purpose adhesive is a thing of the past. Each manufacturer recommends a particular adhesive, so it's up to the install professional to know what is the appropriate adhesive and what the results are going to be. Floor prep can encompass a number of different things, but it's generally using what we call a cementitious floor patch material that has a very, very low moisture content that can be troweled onto the floor and doesn't need an extensive period of time to dry out. You can get on it within 24 hours and put in a new product without having any problems. This particular type of cementitious product that we use is generally put over new concrete because new concrete generally isn't smooth enough in most cases or level enough to accept the flooring. So it's necessary to put this product down prior to get the smooth, level floor that's necessary to get the right results.
The benefit of using a vinyl product like the wood product over natural wood is, with natural wood you're limited to its applications. An on-grade slab presents problems due to the moisture in the concrete, and just for the maintenance of it, a vinyl floor can be put anywhere, below grade, above grade. Well, we're reinstalling this vinyl plank that was damaged. So we dry laid it, cut it in. I'm spreading the adhesive out here. The border around this floor is a vinyl plank. It's as you can see, it looks like wood. It's 100% vinyl. It's very, very nice for commercial applications. It never has to be refinished. You don't have to worry about moisture, buckling wood. It looks just like wood. And these are full sheets that come into play, and they were installed at a checkerboard fashion, the grain going this way, then the grain going this way, it alternates. And then we have these one by one of a different color. It's like a suede look that gets cut out, and this is scribed again, underscribed into the material. And in between, we have these feature stripes. They're 1/4 inch wide, and they have to be cut and put in, and also have to be scribed in along everything. And the training that comes into this, and the skill that it requires, it all comes into play. It all comes together on a project like this. What we're doing here is we're going to underscribe this sheet vinyl to a terrazzo strip by this walk-off mat, due to the fact that you can't cut it straight. Because it's a man-made material, it's installed, it could have curves and bends and wiggles, and this has to be watertight. So what we do is we take this underscriber, it's a hinged underscriber. It has this clip on the bottom that will ride along the terrazzo strip, and on the top is a marking pin that will scratch the surface as we come along, and then we'll go back and cut it with the knife. Is underscribing.
Everything has to be based on what the manufacturers recommend. You just can't go into these jobs and do whatever you want to do. What they're doing in there is a straight vinyl, solid vinyl installation. What they're doing now is they're doing a dry lay, complete installation of a certain area. They pull that tile out of there, they glue the floor, and then they put the tile back in. We'll take, say, like a straight installation. Now, what we want to try to do, and according to the manufacturer's specs, is we want to try to keep the cut sizes, which is, they'll call it a border cuts. We'll have that set up to where the cuts are bigger than 6 inches. Okay, and you can do that in usually a 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 room setting. What we try to do as installers is we try to eliminate small little pieces. So what we do is we look at the focal point, the main area, and we lay that out to where we have the biggest cuts. So you're either going to have a center line with your tile sitting right on the center, or they could butt to the line. So that's what we do with our measurements. And then once we have that set up, then we're ready to do our installation, and that's what they did in there. So now they're going to have all good size cuts over half the size of that tile, of a full tile. So the tile itself is a 16 by 16 in this case, so that the cuts are going to be over 8 inches, which is what we're looking for.
Having an install certified professional helps make sure that you get the most out of your flooring, letting your floor last for many years and keeping your home looking its best. I'm Jana Peterson. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Built to Last.
Visit the Built to Last website to learn about these topics and more.
Built to Last is sponsored by Unico Incorporated, manufacturers of the small duct high-velocity HVAC Unico system. Unico is dedicated to the environment and has been serving residential and commercial customers around the corner and around the globe for more than 25 years.
Great Northern Lumber, providing green construction materials from skyscrapers to residential remodel. Proud to serve you for the last 27 years and into the future in the lumber industry.